You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast as we head towards the conclusion of the IPL group stage. We've got matches today featuring the Punjab Kings and others. RCB. We've got RCB.
There and there.
There's one other. There was a really good game. I was like, KKR v Rajasthan Royals. So I tried to do that off the top of my head. Normally I have like the list of games in front of me, and I was like, no, they were memorable. I will just remember them. I didn't. It's early in the morning in the UK. It's early in the morning for a bank holiday Monday. I can tell you that for free. I'm Jack Ope. I'm joined by Max Rowe Brown. How you doing, Max?
Hello. Yeah. All right. I went to a gig last night, so my throat's a bit dry. So if it's a croaky one, that's why. But
What
we'll be
gig?
fine. I went to see a band called Pet Needs. If you're into your punk rocky kind of thing, Pet Needs, band for you.
Do they have any famous songs that I'd have heard about?
No.
No.
They would not. But they are good. Take it from me.
Did they do any on-stage stunts?
They actually did. There was before the show. So it was at the garage in Islington, which is right next to Highbury Islington Station. Yeah, and I don't know if you can picture the station, but outside, there's quite a big paved area. And they, in the afternoon, invited a punk band of 12-year-olds to come and busk outside. Literally, like one of them was a 12-year-old in a suit with a mohawk. It was kind of weird. And they got up on stage at the end, and various other supporters all had confetti cannons for the last song, except they all started going off a little bit early. Could almost hear them apologising. It doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah. They ever fired a confetti cannon?
No, I don't think so. Oh, the other thing, there was a crowd surfer in a wheelchair.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah,
for everyone involved.
It was really sketchy.
I am.
He did not look like he was having a good time.
That's not. That doesn't. That maybe we think that one through.
Yeah,
look,
pretty punk rock,
we've got some cricket to talk about. We're going to be doing things in reverse order on this show after we mix it up on the last one. So it'll be Punjab Lucknow first, then KKR v Rajasthan Royals, RCB v CSK, and then that weird Sunrisers game. Well, it wasn't weird, was it? Like, it was a regular game. Sunrisers v Gujarat on Friday. Max, before we do that, just a reminder to everyone to click like and subscribe on whichever platform they're watching or listening on. And if you really like the podcast, why don't you become a Patreon? Patreon.com/The Cricket Pod. You get bonus content. You get access to our Discord. Beyond the IPL, we've got England v India. And this, I would say, there's probably a fairly even divide of India and England fans. So I imagine the Discord would be pretty good during the England-India series. So if you like talking about cricket on your phone, or you like extra content featuring Dan Weston, there's two good reasons to join up. Max, Punjab v Lucknow. This was the bad game of yesterday. It was one unbelievable game and one
the game that happened.
Yeah, Frankenstein's monster.
A game that could have been described as on this Sunday. It was as a spectacle. It wasn't the best, but for Punjab, it was pretty good and pretty impressive. There was one bit of danger early on with Priyashant Arya falling, but aside from that, it was plain sailing. Prabh Simran Singh was the man of the hour, 91 or 48. But it wasn't just him, because even though Lucknow took some relatively regular wickets at intervals, the Punjab train just kept coming at them. Only Nel Wadera holding things up with a sluggish strike rate of 177.7 when he came in. That was the lowest of everyone who batted after the early wicket of Priyansh Iyer for Punjab. Just highlight the relentlessness of the innings, with a sprinkling of terrible fielding from Lucknow in there as well. And 236 for 5 they put up. And that, well, I mean, the game was over at that stage, but it was doubly over when Arshdeep Singh took the wickets of Lucknow's top 3, which would be all of their batsmen. Although, some credit to Ayush Badoni for a meaningless 74 to make it look a little bit less embarrassing for Lucknow, but it was very, very one-sided and a very impressive display from Punjab.
Yeah, it definitely was. Punjab, I think they're officially in the good category, aren't they? It's taken a while, so to probably settle on that. just I think was fair. But they've got 3 batters in the top 15 run scorers for the season. Probably didn't see that coming. Like if someone said to me, Punjab are going to have no batters in the top 15 run scorers for the season, I would say, yeah, can see that. Like that's definitely a possibility with the batting lineup they've got. But fair play to them picking up Arya, and fair play to Prabh Singh as well for developing his game and coming on quite significantly this year. I mean, he scored with 3 matches still to play in the group stage. He scored about 100 more runs than he ever has in the IPL before, quicker than he ever has in the IPL before. So definitely, probably coming into his peak, isn't he? I mean, like he's 24 now. I think 24 now. So exciting times, I think, for Punjab there. And then obviously Shreyas as well. We talked about him quite a lot on the last show. We raised serious questions before the season started about whether he was worth the money they'd spent on him, whether he was good enough at batting. And clearly he has been. He's been probably their best player. So decent there. And then we also were quite critical of their bowling earlier in the year, but I think that's shown a little bit more life over the last few matches. Since they went absolutely ham on KKR, they've actually been a decent or an average bowling side. And when you score 230 runs, you don't need to have like Bumrah, to be honest, to win. You just need to be competent, and they are. Look like they're heading to the playoffs, Max.
They certainly do. Yeah, they're in a really good spot, and that rain off that we thought might hurt them a week or so ago is looking like it's going to be a useful extra point as well. I'm still not 100% sold on the bowling. I suppose it's decent, right? It's functional. I think it's probably missing something still. They were obviously using Glenn Maxwell quite a lot, and now he's gone home. They will have to find some overs to fill in there. So, it was a combination of Vishak and Stoinis this time around, which, it doesn't matter when you're defending 230 odd. But maybe in other games it might be a bit of a weak point for teams to get at them. So, but if the 2 up top, Arshdeep Singh and Marco Jansen fire, then they can end the game before that even matters. So I think they're kind of they've got very wild extremes, I suppose, with their bowling. It could all go brilliantly and defend 111, but I still think there's a risk there of them, not defending 200 plus scores from time to time. But I mean, the batting is so solid that they'll probably outpower most teams, and they're looking good. And if they do end up in a situation where they struggle with the bowling, it'll probably be against a very good side that you might have expected them to struggle with anyway. So I don't think it's going to kind of result in too many upsets or anything like that. So second in the table, looking good, and I think we absolutely have to put them in the category of contenders.
Yeah, I think in fairness to Punjab as well, on the bowling side, they were a bit unlucky with injuries. Now I'm not saying Lockie Ferguson makes this bowling attack world class, but he probably is an upgrade on Omazai, Stoinis, and Vishak. Maybe not a huge upgrade. Omazai's a decent enough bowler, but like you probably want the overs from Lockie before you want the overs from him. And then, like as you said, with Maxwell as well, him going home destabilizes things a little bit. Maybe they could. I mean, I was looking at their squad. They have a big squad, but I can't see another obvious
no one
bowler.
that you'd want to pick.
Yeah. Maybe they throw Yash Thakur in or something like that. But yeah, look, they're doing decent. Lucknow, Max, that probably is curtains for them. They were teetering on the edge already, weren't they? Now they have a losing record, 3 matches to go. Look, if they win them all, they get to 8 wins. That might be enough. It also might not. If you look at, I mean, like there's 3 teams with 7 wins already, and they've got 3, 3, and 4 matches to find the 8th win. They've got a much better net run rate. I think it probably is time to close the book on luck now, or can you see a miracle happening?
No, I absolutely can't. They've got games against RCB and Gujarat as well to come up, so that's probably the 2 leading sides in the comp. Mayank Yadav is back, but he might not actually be back. Went for 60 runs in this game. Although that will happen. But it's be a lot to expect of a man who's had a series of injuries since October and not really played cricket to come in and turn around the fortunes of an entire bowling lineup, which wasn't that good in the first place. And their net run rate is so bad that it's just, it's not going to happen. Yeah. Even if they did overhaul the gap between them and, realistically, it would be Delhi or KKR. KKR have got an extra point anyway, so they already have to make up a win on those 2. Delhi got a game in hand, and the net run rate differential is sizable. So I think we can say bye-bye to luck now. And I'm not too sad about that, in all honesty.
No. There was a brief spell, wasn't there, at the beginning of the season when they were quite good fun, when Shardul Thakur could come in.
Yeah, they're not playing the Lord anymore.
Yeah,
it's their own fault,
there's only so many full tosses you can bowl before any reasonable person has to put you on the bench. And Digvesh, I don't want to say Digvesh has been completely worked out or anything like that. I think he probably is just like one of those guys who will have really good days when conditions align, and will have days where he goes 48 for 1. I think he's probably that level of bowler rather than him having some secret sauce that batters have now worked out the recipe to. He's certainly been sort of less effective over the last few games, and I'm not sure what's going on with Mayank Yadav. I don't know whether he's actually fit. He's definitely not bowling very fast. Well, he's definitely not bowling sustained spells of quick bowling. Like when he burst onto the scene last year, he would bowl 4 overs of just absolute gas, 95 miles an hour, and people had no answer. Yeah, I'm not sure he's bowled a 95 mile an hour ball. He definitely wasn't bowling quick.
He's been in the sort of low 140s, isn't he?
Yeah,
it's about 10 which is kph below what we've seen.
Look, it's not. I'm not.
It's too fast for me.
Yes, I'm not here saying either that the guy is slow or either that he's a bust. Like if you have a bad injury and then you're kind of maybe rushed back a little bit because your team's in contention and they think you're going to be the second coming of Brett Lee, and your fitness isn't quite there or your confidence isn't quite there to put your body, the strain through your body, then it's sort of understandable that you'd be bowling a little bit slower. To be honest, like it's a very reasonable thing to be happening, but obviously it diminishes his effectiveness. And I think had he come back as Mayank from last season, there was a moment where Lucknow could have been contenders this year.
Yeah,
but he hasn't, and that is probably it for Lucknow. I'm not in the I hate this team, they're so boring to watch. I think they are actually still decently fun.
They're a lot better than they were last year.
Yeah, I don't think you can make a reasonable argument
making the playoffs, is it?
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think you can say they're fun, but they're definitely not good. They're like,
yeah, and it would be annoying if they did it because we absolutely had them.
They're like Crystal Palace or something. A Crystal Palace fun? I don't watch enough football.
I don't know.
Who's the fun Premier League team that
Brighton
aren't very good? Yeah, Brighton. Yeah,
they're half decent though.
Okay, they're like a fun Premier League team that aren't that good. We can't name
one. Your own decision. Decision of your name here.
Yeah, exactly. Max, I think that's enough on that game. Should we take a quick break and then we'll come back and do Kolkata Knight Riders v Rajasthan Royals, which was the big boy game.
Absolutely.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cricket Podcast. We're going to move on to Kolkata Knight Riders v Rajasthan Royals. A reminder again to click like and subscribe on whichever platform you are listening or watching on. We're coming to the end of the IPL, so we've got loads of good cricket to talk about there. Then, as I was saying earlier, there's a Test series coming up. Then we've got the Ashes later in the year. I forgot, Max, World Test Championship, and there was World Test Championship news as well, wasn't there? With Kagiso Rabada's drugs ban.
Oh yes.
It sounds like he smoked a joint and has had to have a month of cricket. Probably not really much in the way of news there.
Just try not to smoke any more joints in your month off.
Don't smoke any more joints. Yeah, if you have a month off, you might think, what a great time to smoke some joints. No, don't do that. Get yourself fit for the World Cup. Apparently, he's going to start playing cricket again soon, so he will be leading the attack at Lords, and I'm excited about that. And obviously, we'll be talking about that. So, like and subscribe. That's the message. And also, if you didn't hear, Rabada smoked a joint. That was the other message. Kolkata Knight Riders v Rajasthan Royals, Max.
Yeah, well, what an unbelievable finish to this game we saw, and it didn't look like we were going to get it for a while, but boy did we. So it all started in fairly pedestrian fashion for KKR's batting. Sunil Narayan fell early. Gurbaz and Rahane knocked it around a bit. It was all fine and serene. 111 for 3 after 12 and a bit overs when Rahane fell. But Dre Russ and Rinku Singh went absolutely ballistic at the close to propel KKR over 200 runs. 206 for 4 they finished on. Akash Madwell took some tap, as did Yudhvir Singh. And it was, a real change, a real shift in momentum, your favourite of topics, Jack, to end the KKR innings. And Rajasthan started fairly badly at 8 for 2. Off 2 overs. Was not the way you want to get things underway. Vaibhav Suryavanshi out for 4. Obviously, we have to watch whatever he does after scoring his 100, and every time there's a failure, we'll chalk it up in the world of the universe and balance.
It's rubbish.
Yeah, terrible, overrated. Never liked him. And Rian Parag was basically trying to do it all on his own because Dhruv Jurel was out first ball. Hasaranga was back up at batting at 6. He was out second ball. And it was just Rian Parag against the world at this stage. And he was making a damn good go of it. But eventually, for some reason, when Shimon Hetmyer was out, Shubham Dubey decided that he was going to refuse to hit the ball or score any runs, which put too much pressure on Rian Parag, who did eventually hole out for 95 and leaving the game looking pretty much done. And then it turned out Shubham Dubey's plan all along was to just clog things up, get rid of Rian Parag so that he could have all the glory himself, because in the final over with 20 odd needed, he took Vaibhav Arora to the cleaners with some clean hitting off of some questionable death bowling, it might be said, until it was 3 needed off the final ball when Vaibhav Arora, at the 6th attempt of asking, finally found his Yorker, and they just managed to effect the run out of Jofra Archer to stop it going to a super over, and KKR cock a hoop with their win that just about keeps them in the race for the playoffs. And Rajasthan, further eliminated. But it was a good last over. That was fun. That was IPL cricket.
Yeah, there's Rajasthan now. How many games have they managed to lose in the last over? And they've done it in all different ways as well.
At least
managed to
3.
lose super over. They've managed to lose chasing 9. They've managed to have lost the game, then nearly won the game, and then lose the game. They've gone through the full repertoire of crushing last over defeats, haven't they?
Yeah, none of them have gone their way, have they? Not a single one of those.
Yeah. What do we say? Let's probably start with Rian Parag, don't we? It was a hell of an innings.
It was, and it was It's always interesting when you've got an innings like that is just in complete contrast to everything else that's happened around him, and that's exactly what this was. And to be honest, when you look at the way KKR's innings fell as well, it was most people were going pretty slowly for the majority of the innings, and it was only at the end, at the close, where in the last 5 overs or so, where people started teeing off and and kicking on. But Rian Parag was doing it from fairly early on in his innings, and it was a real display of talent. We know he's got it. It's just whether he decides to bring it to the party more often than not. And yeah, when your team's eliminated and it all counts for nothing, it's not necessarily the best time to do it. But it was a little reminder that Rian Parag does have the tools, and it would be nice to see him string it together a little bit more often. Back batting at 4 as well, which I think is fairly clearly his best slot in the lineup now. Even though, in effect, it didn't really make much of a difference because the 2 batters before him faced a combined 7 balls. But I don't know. There seems to be something about it, doesn't there? Just, I don't know whether it's psychological or what, but whether he's batting 3 or 4 in this Rajasthan lineup hasn't really changed much when he's come to the crease. But he does seem to just be better when he's batting 4.
Yeah, he does. He's actually up to 11th in top runs.
Really?
In the IPL. Yeah, I was surprised by that as well. I mean, that was my reaction. I was just looking it up because I was thinking he'd had a pretty quiet year, which I suppose actually was true until he hit 95 or 46 balls. Like he would have been, in the 20s somewhere, which is maybe below his level. But 11th, it's a decent year. I think that the issue for him has been playing match-changing innings, if that makes sense. I think he's actually had a few sort of 30s, but no one remembers the 30. It doesn't necessarily mean that the 30 didn't help your team win or put your team in a good position or whatever, but nobody remembers the 30. The 95 he scored is literally his only 50 of the year.
Yeah.
He's managed to accumulate some runs, and he hasn't done it slowly, but
yeah, not quite as memorable as last year's Rian Parag, where it was blistering 50s.
Yeah, and match winning stuff. So yeah, not an awful year. I mean, Rajasthan overall, I was surprised they got as close as they did.
Yeah,
it's actually I thought it was quite an easy win for KKR, apart from what they did in the last over. Like there wasn't really a point where I was like, there's any jeopardy until then suddenly there was. Even when Parag was going bananas, I was kind of like, we'll get out in a minute, and then they'll win.
I quite enjoyed. And they highlighted it a lot on commentary. Nick Knight in particular was getting very excited about how much of a genius Ajinkya Rahane was for bowling Sunil Narine in the 18th over and then bowling Harshit Rana in the 19th over and using their best bowlers to get the wicket of Rian Parag and end the game. How brave, not holding Harshit Rana back for the last over. It's like, well, I mean, to me that just seems reasonably obvious, and then it almost all went wrong anyway because Before almost managed to not defend 22 in the final over. So that would have been a nice example of some, I don't know, mental gymnastics that have had to perform to wriggle their way out of that one. But I suppose they've got to talk about something, haven't they? That did tickle me a little bit.
Yeah, a couple of other things we didn't mention. One sort of a Parag one. How many runs did he hit off Moeen Ali in that over? Was it 30 or 31? I don't know if you've got the ESPN page up. Yeah, I think it was 5 6 of sixes, which is pretty incredible. And it was nice to see Dre Russ and Rinku partying like it was 2022 in the KKR innings as well. KKR, Max, they have an even record with a bonus point from a rain-off. Can they close the gap? Is that possible? 3 wins for them would get them to, what would that be, 17 points?
Yeah.
Can you see either Mumbai or Gujarat not pulling that off? Or I suppose Punjab. Or I suppose RCB.
I think, yeah. what did we say? It was 17 points. So 2 wins from 4 for Gujarat, 2 wins from 3 for Mumbai. I mean, it's definitely possible. Mumbai's run-in is tough. They've got Gujarat, Punjab, and Delhi. So all teams around them, and teams that will be maybe not needing to beat them, but in the case of Delhi, definitely needing to beat them to keep their hopes alive. And I suppose what probably goes against KKR slightly in that run-in is that even though 2 of their last 3 games are against CSK and Sunrisers, so you'd probably expect them to notch up some comfortable wins there. None of them are against those teams that they're trying to chase down, so they don't have the luxury of being able to win an effective 4-pointer, Jack. The old saying in the IPL, those promotion 4-pointers. So I think they've got good shout of putting that run of 3 together, depending on where RCB are fixed by the time that game rolls around. But it is in the hands of the others around them. So yeah, wouldn't rule it out, but not. I'm not. They're not favourites for me. Maybe 15%, something in that kind of ballpark.
Yeah. The tricky thing for them is they probably need one massive win in there as well. Their net run rate is worse than the 5 teams above them.
Yeah,
not it's potentially recoverably worse. It's not like they're not going to catch Mumbai, but they could probably catch the other 4 teams.
Yeah, it might not come into it though, because obviously they've got that 1 point from the rain.
I suppose that is true, isn't it? Yeah, so that only really matters against Punjab, and they've got the closest. Yeah, that's the point. Yeah. So let's disregard that. Anything else, Max, from this game before we move on?
No, just it was great fun, great finish. It was quite interesting actually, just the way Vibe of Aurora bowled that final over. It was really bad. It showed you the peril of trying to hit Yorkers, and what can happen when your mind goes a bit wrong. Because obviously he tried Yorkers for the first 2 balls, I think, which ended up being a half volley to full toss, and then inexplicably just bowled a slow half tracker that was meat and drink to anyone who's ever held a bat. And you could sort of see the process going through his mind of how this was all going wrong. So actually, in fairness to him, like, credit with that final ball, once it got to the point where actually, this, like, a super over was a realistic prospect, and actually quite likely that they weren't going to win that game off that final ball, to then be able to come and basically nail that final Yorker. Good on him for coming back from the disastrous 5 balls that preceded it.
Cool. We'll move on then to RCB v Chennai Super Kings. Another defeat by Chennai, but they're getting closer, Max, aren't they?
They are. This was another crazy game of cricket. RCB batting first. Jacob Bethel scoring 50 at the top of the order, looking decent, and Virat Kohli also with a very quick 50 to get things going. But CSK, to their credit, they fought back. Patarana, off his first 3 overs, was 3 for 18, I think. He'd caused all sorts of problems to RCB, stopped them in their tracks. Noor Ahmed was causing problems, and with a couple of overs to go, RCB were looking at not really going anywhere, to a fairly pedestrian score of 180 odd was, like, in all likelihood where they were going to end up. But then Romario Shepherd just faced the last 2 overs and scored 53 off 14. It was quite an astounding display of hitting. He absolutely tore shreds off both Patarana and poor old Khalil Ahmed, who I think in 1 over, did he go for boundaries every ball? Or it was bad. It was really,
he went
really
for 65 off 3 overs.
Yeah, it was.
That's
I think it was 30 off 1 over at the end, and Patarana also getting flayed around in that final over. It was. You'd expect it from Tim David. He was just standing at the other end watching all of this unfold. He was just swinging from the hips, and absolutely everything was flying off his bat. It was madness, crazy, insanity. And it got RCB to 213, which a much more positive-looking score for them. In response, though, CSK It's a new teenager sensation on the block. Ayush Matre. He's had a few half-decent innings for CSK at the top of the order. 94 off 48 for him. Didn't quite get to the promised land of that century, but nevertheless, a really impressive effort from him to really lead that CSK chase, and ably supported by Ravindra Jadeja with 77. We won't mention the fact that RCB dropped him about 43 times in that 77. It was all Jadeja's doing. We must remember that, and it got them there or thereabouts. They were close, and then Dhoni didn't manage to finish it off. Devil Brevis was out first ball to Lungi Ngidi, and it all went a little bit wrong at the death. It was like it was just the first innings flipped around really at the death, getting to a position where you're in a good positive spot, and then seeing it all drift away from you. Shivam Dube stranded, watching on as he was unable to finish it off. And some credit to RCB for the way they went about the final over. I think Yash Dayal did a good job of that, but CSK were well placed. And what was it? They needed 15 off the last over in the end. So
last over, yeah,
a little bit too far. Very much doable, but Dhoni fell. Couldn't get Dube back on strike, and I think, well done to RCB, but it was a game that kind of rested on about 4 overs of cricket in either innings in the end, and it could have been a very, very different story otherwise.
Yeah, it was like a first past the post election, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like you. At the end of it, it all comes down to like 4
votes in.
Yeah, 4 votes in.
Yeah,
exactly. No, CSK actually showed a lot of heart in this game. I suppose you tried Jadeja in the top 5 11 times in a row, and one of them's going to come off, isn't it? Like it's you've got that much Matre decent. Oh, it would have been. I wonder. I mean, the only thing I think I kind of thought about is, would they have been better off sending Dube instead of Dhoni or Daryl Brevis, like just a little bit earlier? The guy who has the capability to hit sixes, and I know people get really fucking obsessed about him hitting spin, but it's not like he cannot hold a bat against pace bowling. Like, he's not as good against seam as he is against spin, but he's still not bad. He's still probably CSK's most likely player to hit 2 sixes off a couple of balls. And I don't know, was that the delay of him caused the defeat? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know if it caused it, but it definitely contributed. I was confused about the whole Dube Dhoni thing. But logic doesn't play a part when it comes to when Dhoni comes to bat for CSK, does it? He just sort of turns up when he feels like it. And I guess,
like Gandalf,
on this occasion, he was like, "Yeah, I'll go and finish this off. I feel like it today." And he threatened. he did suggest that he did hit a 6, and it looked like maybe he was going to be able to do it. But I would have rather had Dube there from a CSK perspective. And even that sort of in that final over, so Dhoni with Dube watching on the other end, and you are just thinking like he is a 6 hitter, and if you need 15 off the final over, you're going to need a 6 realistically. It makes things
he hit
easier. Well, yeah, he did hit one. Unfortunately, all too late. So I do think it was a strange decision. There's no point in having Shivam Dube in your side if he's going to bat 7. I think
strange. I don't know.
Never mind. It would have been nice if Dhoni had done it, wouldn't it? If it happened, everyone would be like, "Oh, look, he's still got it. He's still the man who can stand up at the age of 43 and all that stuff."
To be fair, Max, that is about all they're playing for.
Yeah,
like the whole point of Chennai Super Kings over the last 3 games is let's see if Dhoni can do something fun. I guess give him the opportunity. It's go full professional wrestling if you're Chennai Super Kings. I don't actually care about it as a sporting contest. Just see if you can manufacture some storylines. It'd be good. Romario, he was fantastic. To double down on the praise there. And Guidi back in the side too. Hazelwood has a sore shoulder. They think he's only going to miss one game, but I've heard that story before in the IPL. So I think we'll watch that space. But Guidi, he, frankly, was an able replacement. Like, if Hazelwood had played and taken 3 for 30, you'd have been like, that's a really good performance from a really good player. Yeah. Like, so he maybe even outperformed what you'd expected to get from Hazelwood. Are there any injury worries for RCB? I mean, like, obviously they're in a great spot right now, aren't they? Salt has been out for 2 matches with sickness. Hazelwood, a shoulder injury. Worst case scenario, and Phil Salt is seriously ill, misses a couple more games. Hazelwood, actually, he's done his shoulder, so he's out for the season. Where does this drag them back to, or is it not really a problem? Are they good enough to carry that injury load?
It obviously affects them a bit. I think mainly from the Hazelwood perspective, just because of how good he has been. But actually, I think it tells you a lot about the way RCB have put a side together. That for some of their key players, they've got people who have just slotted straight in and done a really good job. Jacob Bethel doesn't tend to open in the batting in England in T20. Hasn't done it for England, but he's looked good there. And also in the field, like Phil Salt in the field has been pretty electric, but Jacob Bethel is good from that point of view as well. So it's a like-for-like replacement who's coming in and doing the same job and doing it well. And Ngidi, we've only seen this, so it's hard to say too much. But he's a quality player. He's done a really good job for South Africa in T20s. He's got good slow balls, good variations. He's really dependable and a really quality player. So I don't think it's the end of the world for them if they did end up with some slightly more troublesome injuries than it first seems. It's a little bit of a downgrade, but it's not season ending by any stretch. They could still go all the way with that side. Especially if Romario Shepherd hits more 10 ball 50.
Well, yeah. No, if that happens again, they're unstoppable, aren't they? The other thing that we didn't mention in the run shows, I don't know if it had a major difference on the outcome of the result was Brevis, and Zero Gravity has flagged this in the chat. So what happened was he was given out LBW to a ball that just wasn't going to hit the stumps. Like it was a pretty poor decision. But I don't think he saw the decision because he ran a 2, or the batters, I should say, they ran a 2. Like there seemed to be quite a lot of confusion going on. Got to the end of the 2, realised he's been given out. Obviously, he's just like, how's that out? So he reviews it, but it's 23 seconds after the decision has been made.
Right, yeah.
And that is outside of the 15 seconds. And there's another layer of controversy because I don't think in the stadium, normally they stick a DRS counter on the screen or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone had run the sting. Technically, in the laws, he can't review after 15 seconds. It's one of those ones where like there's so much going on that perhaps cooler head should prevail all round. Yeah, and like he should have been able to take that review. Like I understand technically that it was after the 15 seconds, but here's the striker.
The RCB stadium guy cheated.
Maybe the RCB stadium guy did cheat. Yeah,
absolute disgrace.
Yeah. I mean, Brevis is the striker. I mean, like, so I'm not 100% sure about that he didn't see the decision, which would be weird then if he decided to run a 2. The run, obviously you don't get the runs either way, and this is a strange quirk of cricket. Like if the
ball's dead as soon as the decision.
Yeah, it would have been dead. It would have been 0, and that's why I'm not sure it actually really affects the game because it's just a dot ball. Either way, it means someone else is batting and they're facing their first ball and not their second ball. If he was on 50, I think this would be a much bigger talking point. But in this circumstance, no. Yeah, so that happened. I mean, like, I don't. There's not really loads to analyze there. I think it was a shocking LBW decision, and probably I think he should have been allowed to review it. Is my take, but technically you can come back and be laws police on that. I'm much more in favour of like bending the rules. I think in cricket, some people get very.
But they're
weird.
called laws for a reason, Jack.
Yeah, I know. It's like
You can't bend the laws.
Come on, let's be. We all saw what happened. It wasn't out.
Yeah.
Like he's run a 2 either because he's confused by the DRS thing not being on the thing, or because he didn't see the LBW, or because he just didn't know the rule. I don't think.
Well, if he didn't know the rule,
malicious
that's
has really
obviously on
happened
him.
That would be a bit dumb. But like, there's 2 other scenarios there where it would be
Which seem
reasonable
more
not
likely.
to have reviewed. And it's not like he got instructions from the bench to review.
Yeah. Which is obviously what it's there to prevent.
Yeah, and that is a good thing. But he's running up and down like he didn't. That isn't the tactic.
Morgan's not standing there with numbered cards in different orders, being like, "Oh no, review this one down leg side."
Yeah, like maybe that's the solution. If maybe in a world where the you are able to run, what you could do, Max, this is a good idea. You could just run up and down, like run 15 or something like that. No, you get run
while you
out.
think it over.
Oh, that's a fucking stupid decision.
No, the ball's dead.
You,
you couldn't be run out. The ball's dead.
Look, I don't know. Let's take a break. I don't think it was a huge issue either way. It's my basic take on that. Let's take a break, then we'll really quickly cover Friday's match and have a look forward to the next few games as well.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cricket Podcast. One more game to talk about, and then a little preview of some matches coming up. Gujarat Titans v Sunrisers, Max. That was on Friday. Before we say anything, though, make sure you click like and subscribe on whichever platform you're listening or watching on. And if you want to support the podcast directly, patreon.com/the Cricket Pod. From as little as $5 a month, you get access to bonus content and our Discord channel, which is fun. And you support the pod, which is the main thing, isn't it? Like, keep us going. Gujarat v Sunrisers.
Yeah. We'll take most of what I said about Gujarat this year and copy and paste for this innings. We need to come up with a nickname for the top 3, the terrifying trio, terrifying threesome, whatever it might be. They all scored runs. They all scored runs quickly. Someone at the end, Rahul Tewatia and Shaukat Khan in this case, both hit a 6, and Gujarat scored a bunch of runs. Sunrisers, in response, Abhishek did score lots of runs, but no one else was able to carry the fight alongside him. Contributions of sorts from Hez and Klaasen and Nishish Kumar Reddy and Pat Cummins at the end, but not enough. It was all over, well, quite early on, really, probably when Heinrich Klaasen was out. And Sunrisers never really looked like getting there after that point, because 224 is a lot of runs to get. And you need something special. And sadly, there wasn't enough in that Sunrisers batting order, which is a shame for them. But, not unexpected based on their season so far. But yeah, Gujarat, just that top order continues to be absolute mint. And they're good. They're really good. Really good at cricket, Jack. They're all really good.
Yeah. The only annoying thing was having to watch Washington Sundar bat.
Yeah, they do need to stop doing that.
It really kills the vibe, to be honest. When you've got Joss Butler at one end doing all sorts, and then like Washington Sundar literally unable to hit the ball off the square. Just anyone else. They haven't really got anyone else, have they? I mean, like it is.
No, Shaukat Khan and Tewatia.
It is a slightly weird team. Lots of people are saying, eventually in the playoffs, they're just going to get they'll be 3 wickets down.
It's
to
possible.
Darcy and Butler. Yeah,
Right,
that is
if
definitely a
Gujarat
thing
are
that can
3
happen
wickets
this team.
down inside the first half of the innings, they're toast, basically.
Yeah. But they're also good. It's also kind of you kind of don't expect it to happen. Like I would
Yeah.
be, you have to look at what these guys' strengths are. I mean, like Siddharth, Gill, and Butler. Not only are they good shot makers, and not only will they score runs pretty quickly, they get out pretty rarely. I think I was looking at Butler. It's like once every 27 balls, and I think he's the worst of the 3 in terms of balls per dismissal, which is like that's so you're actually sort of expecting Siddharth, Gill, and Butler on average to bat for 90 of the 120 balls. And in the process of doing so, they will score you a shit ton of runs. Like they're not going to get 300. They're not that kind of player, but they're going to get you near 200 basically every time. You just need one other person to do something okay.
Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? The what your point about the balls per dismissal pretty much highlights I guess what you can just see from the eye test, right? Josh Butler is probably the riskiest of the 3 in the way they play, but it's just the fact that they play like really quite repeatable, not risk-free, but like very solid cricket, and at the same time they're scoring at 200 reasonably regularly.
Yeah,
and that's cheating.
Yeah, if you look
at Sunrisers in comparison, right? Like their top 3, you're thinking can do similar things, but it's only going to come off once in a while because they keep getting out because of the way they approach it.
If you have a look at Abhishek's balls per dismissal, he's out. I can't remember what it was. I think it was every 18 balls over the last couple of years in the IPL. So he does score quicker, and the possibility of 100 or 40 balls does exist with Abhishek, and it to the same extent doesn't really exist with Butler and Gill and Siddharth. Like the kind of absolute nonsense innings is really part of their locker. But if you're out every 18 balls, you're also going to get a lot of 3s and like 0s and 12s and things like that, where they're just that will happen for the Gujarat 3, but at it's happening at such a low frequency that they're almost guaranteed runs because you have 3 guys who all do that, and because they're all given license to bat exactly how they like. Like none of them are being asked to put the foot down, put their foot down.
We need a new stat to go alongside averages for batters. We need standard deviation in there.
Yeah,
some sort of variance metric, because that would just explain it, right? For Gujarat, it's low. It's very low.
Yeah. I mean, the people who are saying that Gujarat could collapse and get knocked out the playoffs in a game, that could definitely happen. But that could definitely happen for any team in the tournament. Like it is completely terminal if Gujarat Titans are 30 for 3 and those 3 are out in the power play, and it is a thing that can happen in cricket. But the chances of it, the way they play, are actually really quite low. So I don't know. Gujarat pretty good. They're just going to crank out scores of 200 and then grind teams into the dirt, aren't they, all season?
And they've also got the world's best bowler, Prasid Krishna.
Well, of course,
been unbelievable this year.
Yeah, like their bowling is their whole bowling unit's has been really, really tasty. Siraj picked up wickets, hasn't he? I mean, I don't love Ishant Sharma, I'll say that, but around him, I mean, they don't even really need Ishant Sharma to bowl. I mean, they're sort of doing it. Are they doing it as a joke? Like,
they finally brought Gerald Katser in, which obviously makes them better. So that's nice that they've realised that one. Yeah, again, like Sai Kishore bowled 4 balls in this game, and he's also a really good player that they can use when they need to. Ishant Sharma, does he go off injured, or did Sai Kishore go off injured?
I hadn't noticed this. I will be honest. There was a point in this game where I just
switched off.
Yeah.
There was some point after Gujarat stopped batting, I think.
So that's a question I can't answer.
Also,
if anyone does know,
it was also
which
quite
way round that
long
happened,
ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, it was Friday night. Isham went off injured, apparently. Which might not be the worst thing for Gujarat Titans.
No, not at all.
Frankly, might not be that bad. Yeah, they're good. They're going to the playoffs, I think. Max, where does that leave the table? So that leaves the table. We've got RCB top with 8 points, Punjab second, 15 points, Mumbai third, 14 points, Gujarat fourth, 14 points, Delhi fifth on 12 points. Gujarat with 4 to play, and Delhi with 4 to play. Everyone else with 3 to play. The playoffs are looking like they're starting to firm up a little bit there. Are we likely to see any surprises? I mean, like it's even for Delhi, it looks like it would be quite an.
It would be tough. Yeah, I mean, Delhi do have it in their own hands because they're playing Gujarat, Punjab, and Mumbai, and if they win all of those, then they would leapfrog Mumbai. But it seems unlikely that they'll win all of those. That's three tough fixtures to finish off their campaign. But they started the season with 4 wins in a row, so maybe they can end the season with 4 wins in a row, and that would see them in there. But I think the safe money is on the current top 4. Although Gujarat are facing Mumbai in the next game between those two, so that will give the teams below them a little bit of hope. One way or the other, really, whichever way that game goes, unless it's rained off. That would be quite annoying for everyone else. But that does mean that there is a little bit of jeopardy left, and that Delhi and Kolkata can, continue pushing. But those top 4 look like the safest bet for me. RCB got games against Lucknow and SRH to come as well, so they're laughing home.
Yeah. Next 3 games up in the IPL: Sunrisers v Delhi tomorrow. You mentioned the big games that Delhi have got coming up. This is must win before they even get to the big games, isn't it? Like if you lose this, it's going to be a proper struggle for them over their last 3 matches.
Big time. Yeah. You never know with Sunrisers. They're a side. Obviously, they're completely out of it, and it's going to be meaningless for them. But they are a side that could do damage. They can have a game against Rajasthan or CSK, and you'd probably feel like, I'd back ourselves to win that. Maybe even Lucknow. But with Sunrisers, there's something there at the back of your mind that maybe Travis Head will score a 25 ball 100. Maybe Abhishek Sharma will score 150 or 60 or whatever he did the other week. There are odd things that can happen with that Sunrisers side that will just win the game for them, that you can't really do anything about. Sometimes those things just happen to you, whatever you try and do. So there is a bit of jeopardy there, but they'd still have to be favourites because obviously Sunrisers have been absolutely dreadful.
Yeah. I feel like a few of the Sunrisers players probably just want to go home as well.
That's true. Yep.
They're playing a little bit like that. And I think there's probably a motivation gap between those two sides for this game. So I do fancy Delhi, but you never know with Sunrisers. Mumbai Indians, Mumbai Indians v Gujarat Titans, that's Tuesday's game. Is it? I mean, like, it's not a game with like loads riding on it, so to speak. I mean, like, both teams do need another win probably to make the playoffs, but like, it doesn't have to come against
this one. Yeah,
these two. I suppose the drama is, or the angle is, that whoever loses is probably going to struggle to make the top 2, and making the top 2 does massively increase your chances of actually winning the IPL. So it is a big game from that perspective, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It should be a good game as well. It's a good battle because Mumbai obviously have got powerhouses with the new ball, Trent Bolt and Deepak Chahar, and maybe they could throw an over or two of Bumrah in there as well if they're thinking the way to win this game is to get the top 2 or 3 of Gujarat Titans out. So chuck in some early Bumrah for as a gambit to try and snag that wicket. So I think it'll be an interesting one to watch from that point of view. Mumbai are probably one of the better suited teams to actually try and do that to Gujarat. So I'm quite looking forward to that. Should be a good game of cricket. I think I'll lean towards Gujarat though, because Mumbai have won 6 in a row. It's got to end.
Yeah, I'll lead towards Mumbai. I think Mumbai are a better overall cricket team, I think, than Gujarat. That's not.
I agree.
We are talking sort of fairly fine margins. So it's not. If they had a series of 20 matches, I would expect Mumbai to win 12 or something like that. Like it's not. I don't know if I would
it's
watch.
funny you should say that, Jack. I think that's the new format for the IPL final, isn't it?
New format. That would be. I think a series would be quite good fun.
I think a 3-match series would be quite good. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not going to do it because cricket doesn't do that sort of innovation. And there is something nice about a final as well, being a one-off.
37 frames of T20 snooker cricket.
Yeah. I mean, if we really wanted to know who was best, I think you'd need a 100-game season. But that would be, they'd want to play it every day. Yeah, we have to quit our jobs, we have to retire. So look, I don't know where that came from, but I'll go with Mumbai on that one. And then Wednesday it's Kolkata Knight Riders v Chennai Super Kings. Will Dhoni win a game of cricket single-handedly? That's all that we're excited about from Chennai's perspective.
Does seem to be it. Maybe you should just open the batting for a laugh. Doesn't matter anymore. Are CSK going to win? Probably not. They're not very good.
Yeah, that's about all the analysis you need, I think, on that. Chennai Super Kings. We've got one question to finish us off on. I think this is an interesting one from Cricinfo, the official cricket site. Guys, in the 2028 Olympics, England will play as Great Britain, which means Ireland and Scotland is also included. Will this make the team weaker? Correct me if I'm missing something. I think that's an interesting question, how they will figure that out. I don't know how seriously England and a combined GB team will actually take the Olympics. They don't take, for example, the football seriously whatsoever. They literally don't enter a team. They could do, but they're just like,
they did one year, didn't they, when London was hosting the Olympics?
Yeah, and even then they sort of phoned it in.
Crap.
They had Mark Noble in midfield and stuff like that. It wasn't. They didn't seriously try and win. And there are a few other sports where, I think it's more like who they kind of ask who wants to do it rather than who actually maybe is the best. I think we've been represented by some strange golfers, for example, which is a similarly new sport into the Olympic arena. So to answer that question, I think it will be weaker. I know you might have a different point of view on this, Max. I think that they will field a fairly weak team.
I think it depends a lot. It depends a lot on what the criteria will be for team selection. Because obviously, in the football, for example, it's under 23s, and then you're allowed.
I think you're allowed two overages. Yeah.
So I don't know if they'll do something similar for the cricket, or whether they'll just say, do what you like because there's only 6 of you. Obviously Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So I don't know what the deal with the Ireland cricket side will be. They're probably not going to be playing for Great Britain. So, it's there's a lot of just general questions and unknowns about how that will all come together. But I think, if you on the face of it, right, there's less of a talent pool in Scotland and Northern Ireland compared to England. So if you do include a few of those players, you probably are going to be at the expense of someone who might be better for England. But if you do it properly and you think about, the options, like England's T20 cricket side's not been particularly good. has it. So maybe chucking in, Mark Watt and who's the guy who bats for Scotland who's quite good? Brandon McMullen, someone like that.
McMuffin.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to give him an actual name and not the stupid names that we that we call him because we're terrible people. And all I could think of was Brendan McCullum, and if he came out, that'd be quite a laugh, wouldn't it? So there are some good players for Scotland who'd come in and do a decent job. They play in county cricket, so if it's like a county cricket sort of level quality for England, like I think you're kind of alluding to, then it might not make that much of a difference. But it's I think it all depends on what the rules are around who gets picked and how much England care. But India are going to win it, aren't they?
That will basically be it. If England decide that they fancy it, they'll play the England team as Great Britain. Like there won't be any players from the other two nations. But I don't know, like, when is it and stuff like that? Like, is it in the middle of the English summer? Will a bunch of the England
during the 100 probably?
Yeah, will they want to?
I'll probably send Dom Sibley,
Los Angeles. Yeah, I mean it's not. I think it genuinely isn't inconceivable that they play a non-111, so that they don't have to disrupt the 100 or whatever their actual money-making schedule is. They're not going to make any money from the Olympics. It's like the Olympics in the UK. People get excited about like horse jumping and track cycling. The Scottish bloke who can swim really fast. We're not really interested in the team games, even the ones we're sort of all right at. Like we just don't.
I don't mind the hockey.
Do you watch the hockey?
Yeah,
maybe. Can name one hockey player?
Well, Sam Quek, who's now a TV personality, she was in the team that won in London.
You got me
That's
there.
about it. That's all I got.
You got me there. Right, that's the end of the podcast with a little Olympic interlude. We will be back either on Wednesday or Thursday. We've got Ross's stag do next weekend, haven't we? So
we do, yeah.
Work out our scheduling around that.
It might be the last pod we ever do.
Could be, yeah. All right. Goodbye.